Man, how's it going out there? Lazy live. Don't wanna. Just want to get on here quick after dinner. Be like screwing around a computer a little bit. Don't want to do any editing or anything. So lives are the way to go. Hopefully, everyone can hear me out there with this mic. Got some GLP's jackknife plug in 320. Got to tamp that down a little bit. It's a great smoker. Everyone's got one, it seems. Digging this jackknife plug for sure. Just want to see if this mic's working. Hold on a second. Probably no one's on, but figured give it a shot. Anyone can let me know if it is working or not. Okay, it's working. Cool. Yep. Okay, sorry for the delay. But this board, again, not to waste anyone else's time, but figure come on and whoa, excuse me. Smoke a pipe and do a beer review. That's Genesee's Brewing Specialty Ruby Red Kolsch. I don't know if you guys can see the little guy on there with the pipe. That's not why I bought it, but I was just in the store. Genesee Brewing's from Rochester, New York, or as we like to call it, Rachacha. And they've been around forever, and they have a reputation, excuse me, of having. They've been around forever, and they have just regular run-of-the-mill beers. They also I think it's a sister company. It's called Saranac Brewing. They brew out of the same brewery, and those are more like craft beers and stuff. Good, great brewery. I was in the store, and I was like, man, I don't know what I want. And then I happened to be looking at this case. It says, oh, Genesee Kolsch. And Kolsch is what I caught my eye first. Kolsch is it's a German-style lager or not a lager. It's an ale that's fermented with ale yeast that's fermented at a low temperature, like lager temperature. So, like, ales that have yeast that's top feeding, and it usually ferments at a higher temperature, and lagers have a bottom feeding yeast that's fermented at a lower temperature. And so this is like the style Kolsch I always liked. It's got a lower alcohol content, and it's got like lower on the IBUs, which is not why I like it. I just like it because it's like a nice, clean tasting ale when you're in the mood for it. But this one's got I was looking at a case. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then this guy asked one of the attendants, say, hey, I'm looking for that Genesee Ruby Red Kolsch. And I'm like, look right at it. I'm like, oh, it's right here, man. He goes, oh yeah. So my buddy told me to pick up a couple 12 packs of it. I'm like, oh really? I'm like, well, I'll have to give it a shot then. So I had one before dinner. This is my one after dinner. And I guess I'll just go through it with you guys, what I'm smelling and all that stuff. But right off the bat, I'm smelling just straight up grapefruit. I don't know. I know it was a grapefruit beer, but like I don't particularly like grapefruit. But it's just whatever. I just bought it. Figured try something new. Genesee product I trust. And just looking forward for a light drinker. I'm not really in the mood for like a big Hey, sweetie. Hold on one second. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi.
I'm gonna be smoking my pipe in here, so I'll come say hi to you in a little bit, okay?
I just want to say goodnight.
Oh, you're going to bed? Well, I'll be up in a little bit, okay?
Bye.
I love you, sweet. Take care.
You do too.
Alrighty.
Ah,
My daughter.
It's cold in here.
It is cold.
That's why you should wear shoes.
That's right. It's where we wear socks out here, right?
You have to wear shoes.
Okay.
Next time you come in here, wear shoes.
All right, sweetie. Grapefruit on the nose, and let's pour some in here. That's my daughter, by the way. Sweet little thing. So there it is. Lighting's kind of weird in here, but it's typical for a Kolsch. Light golden, almost like a straw hay type of color. Somewhat clear, pretty clear. I know Mr. Badger Ash likes his beers crystal clear. I had a hazy IPA on here one time, and I don't know if he minded or not, but he's like, if it looked like that here, they dump it in the sink. But no. So there it is. So again, grapefruit, but when you taste it, it's clean and crisp, just like the Kolsch style is. Light in the mouth, and the grapefruit doesn't come through in the taste that much, which is great. It's like way in the background, but it's more for you're smelling it and you get a little hint of it, which is okay for me. I can handle that. And man, I got a 12-pack of this and a 12-pack of another like generic like light lager beer, and it was $21. And there's 4-packs of like IPAs out there now. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. That is $17 to like $22, like a 4-pack of 16-ounce cans. But I don't know. I'm kind of over that. Like there was a period of time in my life where I really sought after certain types of beers, and like I was into like, oh, this this stuff's rare, and I kind of like what do you call it? Just watching what was coming out in the area and stuff, and it's hard to get. I like to go out and try to get it and stuff. I'd be willing to pay that. Now, not so much. But I can probably, I don't know if I'll buy it again, but I can see people taking it for during the summer months. Barbecue, stuff like that. I don't understand the what do you call it? The craze with all this new like alcoholic seltzer, and like just it's basically what beer is coming down to, or it was trending towards, is just like flavored alcohol that wasn't really necessarily beer. Like I don't know. There's a brewery near my house that I like. I enjoy going to. I like the guys there, but they just get out of hand sometimes. Like they have these like sour beers. I know sours is like some sort of like a craze right now, or a fad or whatever, but they had a sour beer that was like sour with chanterelle mushrooms. Like, like I don't know what the hell you do with that. Like, why would you make that? Like chanterelle mushrooms they're wild mushrooms that grow around here in July, early July. And I just don't know why you would buy that. You know what I mean? But I have no clue. What's this down here? I have no clue, man. But that's it. Anybody else exploring new beers this year? Are they sticking with the same thing, or what do you guys usually typically go out to eat, or go out for a certain type of style of beer, or do you guys like to try new things. Do a 12 pack for like 12 bucks or less. Why not give it a shot? That's the way I'm looking at it. Jeff Night Plug's pretty good. My buddy gifted me this. He didn't really care for it that much. For those who don't know, Dark Fire Kentucky, ripe red Virginias, earthy flavors are layered central core of golden flue cured and a hint of bright sweetness. Then price and turn into cakes, then finally into 12-ounce blocks. Slice it thick, rub it out, ribbon cut. All right. Yeah, I like Dark Fire Kentucky. Starting to venture over into that genre of pipe tobacco. A lot of flavor. I like that. I think I got a good rotation going. I'm really starting to really like Virginias and favor the Virginias. It's got that Windjammer from GLPs. That's awesome. Get your hands on that, man. Go do that. Grab yourself a couple tins. Because that's worth it. If you like Virginias or Navy blends in general, I can compare it to plum cake, but I think it's better than plum cake. McBaron's plum cake, which I always thought was pretty darn good, but Windjammer, man. But I'm starting, like, when there's new there's new blends out and they advertise them and stuff. I'm like, you know what? How much? I have so many other blends I have to try first before I start getting into new ones. But I picked that one up and I was very pleasantly surprised. Got that. Opened up the tin and it was it was rich, like raisin. I love that smell. And raisin, I get a little bit of the rum, but man, everything worked well. It was a complex blend, but simple at the same time. I'm really enjoying it. I'm smoking it more than my other blends. I'll smoke some Windjammer. I'll go blend, go back to Windjammer, blend, go back to Windjammer. Or I'll go Windjammer twice, and so I'm gonna have to order some more of that. It's funny how that works. Yeah, grapefruit beers. Thank God it doesn't come through in the taste that much, but I don't know why. It was good hops though, good Northwestern hops have that tropical flavor ish. You know what I mean? They have those notes in it. They're not piney. They're more citrusy tropical notes. And there's some hops from New Zealand. What the hell are they called? I used to homebrew and I used to be all into that. But there's some hops down from that region of the world that are just amazing. Very low bitterness, but it's pretty incredible. But yeah. But yeah, New Zealand's got great hops. Um, what the hell is the name of that hop? I think it's Nelson Solvent. That's the name of the specific hop, and it's harder to get, and they're more expensive in the homebrew stores and stuff. There's that hop. There's a hop called Citra, which is basically like cheating, and did a couple homebrew tournaments or contests. Yeah, for the IPA, you got to make you can in this particular tournament or whatever you want to call it. They had 6 different style categories, and you can do all 6, but you can also just pick and choose. they had anyway, like usually the IPA category, everyone's like using Citra in like some form in their either it's their kettle hops or their or it's their usually it's like a whirlpool hop or a hop you add towards the end of the boiling of the wort process because when you put it when you add hops or anything like towards like the beginning of the boil process, you taste it more on your tongue or you feel the bitterness more. But towards the end of the boil, usually it's a 60 to 90-minute boil. When you add that to that, in the process later on, that's when you start to smell more. It comes more on the nose. So there's hops that are great for like adding in early, and that gives you however type of like bitterness that you're gonna feel on your tongue. And there's hops that have like attributes that you put in towards the end of the process that you're gonna like get more of the attributes, floral like attributes, and more on the nose or more like on that subtle uh, taste profile. But like a lot of people, like the trend is now with these like they call it New England style IPAs. It's not really a trend. It's been like 5 years or so, but it was pretty revolutionary for craft beer. And what they were doing is that they were doing their mash, their regular mash for the grains, and then they were boiling their wort, and then they just weren't adding anything or very little anything in their boil kettle in their boil, and waiting for the wort just after the flame was out and the boil stopped and it went down a couple degrees, and then they'd add in some hops right then, and then they let the wort chill some more, and then they add in again, and it just layered this like very complex. It gave the beer bitterness because you need bitterness, especially with an IPA, which is like a double ale that has a lot of rich, full body grain in it. You needed that to get some bitterness, but then you then those hops that they added in way later that they just like, oh, let's just let it sit there, and so that brought out a lot of the certain like oils that are in the hop and the lupian and stuff like that, and it just like, wow, man, this is crazy. And they start like experimenting with other like hops from different regions of the world, and like the beers got really like tropical tasting, and it was just crazy. Like, wow, this is great. But a side effect, if you don't chill your wort down like right away or in a certain amount of time, like the faster you get your wort down to yeast pitching temperature, which is around like 75 degrees, or you can go 80, but if you pitch your yeast too hot, it'll kill the yeast, right? Because it's alive. But anyway, rambling. The process of chilling your wort, the faster you cool it down, the clearer the beer is. So they weren't doing that, right? They weren't like putting in an immersion chiller or whatever, or cooling down their wort how they do it in the breweries. They were just letting it sit there and cool naturally. But while it was cooling naturally, then they were adding in their hops, and then and I'm sure there was dry hopping, which is like while the beer is fermenting, and it's already yeast was pitched, has been fermenting for a little bit. That's when you add in more hops that don't get cooked or anything, or don't get boiled or whatever. That just adds way more to the nose, and so it's just like this big like flavorful beer that everyone's like, oh. And then like that's when the hazy beer started getting popular, is because of that method. And everyone was trying to catch up and copy it. Now everyone's got a hazy IPA. New England style IPA is born. Yeah, so that's when I was really into like brewing, home brewing, and because you find that great golden beer that you like. Oh, this is what I've been trying to do myself, and you can never, and you like, oh, I think this is this hop. And we actually some of the beers aren't pasteurized, and this one beer that we really wanted to emulate was called Heady Topper. So they didn't pasteurize their beer, so the yeast was live. So we would get the beer, we'd crack the can, and then like just pour out very gently what we were going to drink and leave a little bit in the bottom for sediment and like swirl up the yeast. And then we made an old like our own like mini beer like that. It would be already made and cool. I don't know, like less than half a gallon, and we would just pitch that yeast that was still alive into our mini beer, and that was great. Because we would sit there like, yeah, we got to cultivate this yeast so we can use it in our home brew. So we would drink, and that was our excuse to get together and drink too. Well, yeah, we used to do that with certain beers, and we'd pitch it into our mini beer that we just made just so the yeast could eat the sugars that we made and propagate and grow. So then, like in a week or two, when we could tell that the yeast is propagated up. We got a ton of yeast. We made our beer, our homebrew, and then we used that yeast, thinking that would be like the key to the success of like how good that certain beer that we're going for tasted. And usually, we did our best to figure it out. And there's online recipes, and there's like, oh, this is a clone recipe for Heady Topper, or this. And we try to follow it, and then we try to do it just by ourselves, just figure it out by ourselves, which was fun. Designing beers was fun. Once you got the hang of it, and once you know the taste profiles of like certain grains, what temperature to mash in. There's a range of temperature that you need to mash in to how sweet or dry you want your beer, and like, there's a lot of stuff that you get into, and I miss it. The only thing that it does is takes a lot of time. To brew a beer from scratch, from all grain, from like heating up the water to steeping the grains, to boiling, to chilling, and then to pitching the yeast. That process alone would take. We had it down to like 5 hours, and then we had to clean up. But and then it took a week and a half to 2 weeks for it to ferment usually, which is fine. But when before I had the kids, it was easier to do, and now obviously life goes on. It's hard. There's a lot of stuff that you need set up. It's an operation to have your own like home brewery when you're doing all grain and all that. Some guys go really into it. Again, a lot of those nut jobs that like go all in and spend thousands of dollars on their equipment and stuff. Those are the guys that usually have breweries right now, or they just they found the passion enough, and they found the time and money, and they probably won a few like homebrew contests, and God bless them. That was always a dream of mine to have something like that. But now I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, because it's easy to go to the store and buy stuff that you actually like. Has anybody like ever tried blending their own tobaccos out there? Because I think that's my next step. That's what I want to try to get into. And I wonder if there's like a good source for to get like this components on their own. Like, where can you get a good like red Virginia or good like real Perique? Like like I wonder where that is, or would you just go to the normal? Like smokeandpipes.com or Pipes and Tobacco or whatever. I wonder where you would start doing that, because that'd be cool to start doing your own blends. But I would worry about quality. If I was going to get my own tobacco to make a couple pounds of or experiment with blends, I would want it to be top of the line stuff. And then how do you know you're getting that if you're not a tobacconist? I don't know. Has anybody ever tried that? I know people have tried that, but I wonder if that's like a thing. There's there's probably like a forum or something like that, right? For new blenders. Yeah, this jackknife's good, man. Really dig it. It's got a nice smoke too. I know, is there Cavendish in here too? I think there was Cavendish. Mm-hmm. No? That's weird, dude. It's very smooth. Finding out that Cavendish and a blend isn't really a bad thing. Figure it kind of rolls out. Smoothness. But yeah, dude. I would like to do that. I'd like to try that out. Make a grapefruit blend. No way. Yeah, it's topped with grapefruit juice. It's delicious. Ugh. Some people might like it though. I was watching YouTube videos too on Cornell and Deal. They they gave out blending kits. I think I saw it too, and they had like how to make your own toppings and stuff like that. Oh, gotta go. See you later. What's up?